Yes, they are. I don't even know what I thought I was doing with the title. Yes, they are. But what makes the Sonic movies so good is what we are actually here to talk about in this video. I have quite a lot to talk about, so grab your popcorn, grab your pop, get ready, because this is going to be possibly a long video. I don't know, last time I said that, it only ended up being like a 10-minute video, so don't trust me on that, but just, Now, although the first Sonic movie wasn't a direct adaptation of any one of the games, the second and the third are direct adaptations of the games. The second being a direct adaptation of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and then the third being a direct adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. Now, both Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic Adventure 2 are widely considered the best Sonic games to exist by many, many people, fans, and critics. Now, instead of focusing on Sonic 2 and 3 first, I'm going to actually focus on the first Sonic movie, because that's going to be harder to talk about. Because with Sonic movie 2 and 3, I can say, well, they were direct adaptations of the games, those games both had a great story, boom. But with Sonic movie 1, it's a bit more complicated than that. Now, Sonic 1 obviously is not an adaptation of any of the games like Sonic 2 and 3 are, and it is kind of its own thing, with its own story and everything that's not piggybacking off of one of the games like the other two movies are. This definitely felt more like a movie for Paramount to test the waters to see if people were interested in the idea of a Sonic movie. If people are actually going to buy tickets to go see a Sonic movie in theaters. That was kind of what Paramount was testing with. And I think that's what Sonic 1 is. I think Sonic 1 is a test to just see kind of if people are interested in the idea of a Sonic movie, which clearly they are. Now, it also kind of feels like Paramount had a mission with Sonic Movie 1, and that was to make a good video game movie, which is something that was practically unheard of until the Sonic movie. Most times when a studio tried to adapt a video game into a movie, it failed. The first time they tried to do a FNAF movie, the script was scrapped several times. The first Mario movie almost killed Nintendo wanting to make another movie ever again. And some people didn't even know Rampage was a video game until the movie. Even though the studios didn't want to make video game movies because they would almost certainly fail, like 99% of the time video game movies would fail, there was still an audience that was very interested in seeing video game movies. In the first Sonic movie, I think was Paramount trying to fulfill that audience dreams of actually seeing a decent video game adaptation on the big screen. And I think Paramount's mindset going into the first movie was very much, if this movie succeeds, we are going to continue doing Sonic movies, which is something that they are clearly focusing on. Sonic 1 has gotten to the point where Paramount has just completely shifted focus from the Sonic movies to just being standalone movies to now being an entire cinematic universe with spin-offs. Like the 2028 spin-off movie, the Knuckles show, the apparent rumored show that's in the works, the animated movie. It is bigger than just the movies now. Because Paramount wanted to turn it into something that was bigger than just the movies, and that is something that they are now focusing on, is turning it into something that is bigger than the movies. And I think Sonic 1 was just Paramount testing the ideas that they could do for the Sonic Cinematic Universe if they were to follow up with it, which they are clearly doing now. Okay, now let's talk about the second and third movies, then I will spend some time talking about the first one. The second movie is a direct adaptation of the game Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and also a little bit of elements from Sonic 2, and I think one element from Sonic 1, but it's mainly the story of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But instead of directly following up the story of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, instead of directly doing an adaptation of that, they did an adaptation of that and then added a bunch of different elements to it and changed up the story a bit. With all of the Chaos Emeralds combined, instead of being just the 7 Chaos Emeralds, is now the Master Emerald. Obviously, it still has the elements of Eggman using Knuckles to get the Master Emerald, and obviously Knuckles even trying to find Master Emerald in just all this. Obviously, we get some Long Claw lore, which is exclusive to the movies. Now, I also think them adding movie exclusive lore is adding on to the amount of people that want to see the movies, because now they want to see the movies to know what's happening in all the other movies, and it's like, obviously there was something in between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, and that was the Knuckles show. The Knuckles show was its own completely original show. It is obviously a completely original story, and it's nothing to do with any of the games. Now, this kind of tactic of mixing original stories with already done stories from the games attracts both the general audience and longtime fans of the franchise into watching these movies and shows. Now that we're done talking about the Knuckles show, we talked about movie 2, let's go on to Sonic movie 3. This one was by far the most successful in the box office. This came after the Knuckles show was a massive success on Paramount Plus, in the middle of the year, at the end of the Year of Shadow, and right after Sega released Sonic X Shadow Generations, which was a success in sales and critics in terms of reviews and just everything. They could have genuinely not picked a better time to release Sonic 3. On top of that, they are also introducing the Shadow character, which is a character that is currently the second most popular character in the Sonic franchise, right behind Sonic himself. Coming off of an already successful movie franchise, this movie was completely set up for success from the very beginning. Also adapting Sonic Adventure 2, which is wildly considered the best Sonic game by many, many fans, critics, by a ton of people. Sonic Adventure 2 is considered the best Sonic game, and it has one of the best stories in a Sonic game, which is why the story was just so well done in this movie. This movie, Sonic Movie 3, had emotion behind it. It was more than just a Sonic movie. It felt like an actual, true piece of art film. The story was well done. The CGI was well done. Everything about this movie was well done. I know it sounds like I'm glazing here, but it is genuinely hard to find a flaw in this movie. Again, they changed some things about Shadow's story to kind of fit a different lore for the movies. Now, I want to go back on Sonic 2 for a minute, because I want to talk about Sonic 2's CGI. Every time I rewatch Sonic 2, I notice more and more how bad the CGI was. It is laughable. CGI in Sonic 2 was not great, but this was also a movie that was produced during the pandemic, which obviously cut the budget a lot and made it a lot harder to make it. So why did Sonic 2 still succeed? Well, once again, good writing. The Sonic movies, possibly excluding Sonic 1, even Sonic 1 I think had good writing, but the Sonic movies, specifically 2 and 3, have really, really good writing when you look at it. And also the end credit scene of Sonic 1 getting everyone hyped for Tails in Sonic 2, which had everyone waiting for Sonic 2, which is possibly part of the reason why it succeeded. Part of the reason why the Sonic movies are so good is because at the end of every Sonic movie, they set up hype for the next movie, which makes all the people that saw the previous movie want to go see the next movie, which is why every single Sonic movie has done better in the box office than the last. Yeah, that's why the Sonic movies are so good. They generate hype, they have good writing, and just overall, they appeal to both the general audience and longtime fans. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.